Hello everybody, this is Aaron with InterVac Design. I'm at a customer's place right now. We're going to swap out a old Dirt Devil that is not very efficient, and we're going to install one of our road vacs that are the bigger one. That's actually our RMD model, and let's get this going. So what we're doing here is we're going to remove this unit. There's 4 screws holding it in. Take the first 2 out on the bottom. I'm going to snip the zip tie here. Next thing is our low voltage wire. I don't know if you guys can really see it up there or not. Probably not. We're going to cut this low voltage wire. We'll leave it dangling here for now. We'll come back to that here in a little bit. Our plumbing here is already loose. It was not glued from the factory, just FYI. So in the future, if anybody has an issue with their plumbing not having great suction, that's going to be one item to check. So now everything is disconnected. We're ready to take out the last 2 screws. And apologies, you guys can't really see this part of it. Hopefully the other angle will show it. And there we go. All right, so now we're going to start prepping the RMD for installations. Take the door off. There's going to be some fittings and some screws in here. So we're going to take this guy, we'll put it here. Set my screws up here for a second. And maybe trying to hold a vacuum and screw at the same time. And 1. And here's 2. So if anybody's here watching from somewhere else, we're in South Florida, and I think it's about 90 degrees right now and about 187% humidity. So it's good times. So everybody up in the snow belt up north, we're thinking of you this morning. You can feel sorry for us, right? Actually, I talked to my dad this morning, and he was, I think, showing 39 degrees, so that's not us. All right, so now you got your port installed, and we're going to leave the door and stuff off for now. So our next step, we're going to take our template that we have, kind of put it on the wall, try to stay out of the film way here. So we're going to get this about as level as we can, and we're going to add an extra screw in here just so it doesn't pop out. There we go. All right, so let's splice in some electrical connections. So again, some of the users, when you're doing this, you might get a little afraid or a little skittish. Just remember, this is all low voltage, and what that really means, it's all 24 volt. And all we're looking for is to make the connection with the ports that are installed inside the cab. So you don't really have anything to worry about when you're working on these yellow wires. So just going to crimp that. There's 1. Here's 2, and then we'll do it again, connecting to the other ones. And again, since these are low voltage wires, The other thing that we are not concerned about is the orientation on which they came off from, because again, that's all we're doing is we're closing that circuit. There's that. Something else that you can do as a user, it might be easier for the access if you crimp as much as you can on the outside of the coach. But this worked for us. All right, so for the most part, now all we have to do is connect these two hoses to this one inlet valve. All right, so we're gonna take a little extra step this time around on this install, and we're going to glue all of our fittings. I'm just using a normal PVC glue. I don't know if you can see that or not. Nothing fancy, nothing high tech. We're just going to put a little dab on here. We just don't want these fittings coming apart long term. Give it a nice little turn. Kind of do the same thing here. Lined up, perfect. Pull this guy out, give him a little dollop. It's an old school term that Sydney here probably has never heard before. She's giving me that one-eyed eyebrow raise there. So just like that. And while we're out, before we go back in, I'm gonna actually, normally you don't have to do this on these D900s because you'll actually notice there's a little raised rib here. That's actually for friction fit, but we're gonna just do this as a precaution anyway, so we don't have long-term issues. We shouldn't, but just FYI. So kind of the same thing, press and turn, and it's not gonna go anywhere.
Hold on.
We're gonna hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so now that we got everything glued up.
Get the wipe out the way.
Oh, that's all right. We're working. So since everything is glued up already, I'm gonna take an extra step since we're already outside. Before I get this glued back up in the coach, we're gonna take another step now, so we don't have to do inside. This D900 is our proprietary fitting. It's all it does is threads on here, reverse thread, and as soon as that locks on there, or as soon as you get it all the way up to the top here, you will not be able to get this undone. This is a friction fitting that was designed just to use with this hose and PVC fittings to adapt from the PVC to the hose. So, right. So now we're going to put a little dollop of glue on these fittings here. We're just going to be real conservative on these. That way, if in the future somebody does have to take it apart, it's still glued, but not very, very tight. I'm gonna go 1 and 2, and that is it. Let them set up for just a second. Okay. And now we're going to kind of do the same thing on this other fitting on the end. Just a little bit of glue. And we're going to put him on there. Make sure she's facing up. Okay. So now all that, since that's all setting up, gonna let it sit there for just a minute and we'll come right back. All right, so now everything is routed, ready to go. We're gonna cut this to length. So I'm gonna say about right here. Now remember, if you're using a knife, there's actually a pretty thick piece of wire in here. So we don't wanna use a knife to try to cut it. Now that's cut, again, left-hand thread. We're gonna thread this guy in. Now, when we make this connection, we are not going to glue it because, again, remember, we have these little tabs in here. They're for friction fit, and when that gets placed inside here, it gets pressed down, and it's not going to go anywhere. And another side note: remember, do not use a hose clamp or anything else on the hose to that D900. Again, because that'll prematurely wear your hose. Go ahead. So what we're going to do is, this is our Y09 dust bag. So a lot of people in the RV industry probably haven't seen this bag yet because this is a new model for the RV. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, and I don't know if Sydney you can actually get inside there or not, kind of wrap it around. This here goes on the top side. If you can see that. Okay. So now that that's in there, also just a long-term note, remember, so every 5 dust bags, you're going to replace this filter down in here too. There's a filter down here, and there's one on the exhaust as well. So now that dust bag's in there, we're going to take and kind of do the same thing. This time I can actually see it. And we're going to snap it in place, make sure it's out of the way. And, oop. There we go. Now, for the final moment, right? Final countdown. A little extra hose or cord out here. We'll come back and tighten that up in a second. Plugged in. We're going to open that port. All right, she's working. And there you have it. All right, so now we're actually inside the coach, and the customer actually asked us to replace this sweeper port. We're going to put our LED VacPort in. It's kind of confined, so I don't have a lot of room, so apologize ahead of time for the filming. We're going to start inside here. We're going to unplug the hose like so, and we're going to take these I'm not going to be able to really film it because I'm really close quarters. We're going to take these 2 screws out right here, and we'll be right back after we do that. Screws are removed. We're going to slide this guy out. Maybe. You can tell this one wasn't edited first. All right. So one of the complaints that a lot of our customers actually see when they go to replace this specific type of port, you see this little spring right here. This is actually what activates the vacuum cleaner. And this is all you're doing, is you're making contact from here to here, and you're just closing that circuit. The problem is this spring over time, typically you're going to see a year to maybe 3 years longevity depending on where you're at in the world, based on humidity and whatnot. So what we actually see happen is these springs will break pretty much right here at this point. So the difference between that and our port is, if you guys have ever watched any of our videos, it's kind of hard to see in here as well, but I'm going to bring mine up. There's a stainless steel rod that goes right here, and as soon as you open up the door, kind of see it there, kind of moving up and down, that will connect to these magnets that are right here. These magnets will hold that stainless steel rod up, and it makes connection. There's 2 little prongs underneath here and right here that come out to these the yellow wires, which connects back to the vacuum cleaner. So one thing to take note, with ours, they're not going to break. But what we do see happen from time to time, there may get some dog hair or something up inside, dirt, debris, maybe the original installer, when they did it, they weren't taking their time. So from time to time, you might want to just take these out for preventative maintenance, kind of blow them out, just to make sure there's nothing, built up inside here. That's really the only thing that would let that stop working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset here, and we're probably going to have to open up this opening just a little bit, not much. The great thing that we have is our trim plate that comes with our vac ports, and our trim plate becomes also our template. So if you have any questions, let us know. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to loosen these 2 screws. Maybe. Okay, 1 and 2. Because again, this is what actually activates this port. All right, so now we're going to let's actually splice these back so we get some fresh leads. Don't be alarmed by touching these together, because that'll actually, remember, turn the vacuum cleaner on. Good thing is yes, we're cutting some wires and we're making a mess, but we have the solution. We're able to clean up our own mess. There's 1. And 2. Now we'll clean up these guys. Again, you touch them together, it's going to turn the vacuum on. And we're not going to actually make this connection yet. And the reason why is that we are going to need those for our VacPort. We'll make that connection. A little bit more wire. All right, so we're going to pull these back through so they're not in our way. And also, before you ever do any work in any, whether it's a home, a coach, whatever the case, just make sure that if you ever have to cut something, make sure there's no plumbing or electricity or anything else in behind, because that would not be a good thing. So what we're going to do is, this is the trim plate that comes with our VacPort. So what you'll notice is that the old one is a little bit bigger, and that's okay, because this trim plate covers that up. So what we have to do here is we have to make sure everything is kind of centered about right there. And what we're going to do is, I don't know if you can see that, I think you can. We're going to actually trace this out, and we're going to make that little cut. So let me grab a pen and I'll mark this out, and we'll be right back. The line is kind of faint. It is there, I promise. So I'm going to make a little bit of noise. It's probably going to be hard to hear me, so when it comes time to doing the video, I'm going to just fast forward through here. See? Get to clean up our own mess. All right. Now we're going to check our hole just to make sure we went big enough. Look at that. All right. So one thing I forgot to do first, so I had kind of start over. Apologies. So I got to actually screw the trim plate down first. Got ahead of myself. So now we're going to put this guy in there, making sure that your wires and your fitting are glued. It's the reason we get to edit everything. Alright, going in blind. There's one. And two. Okay, there's that. So now, what we have left here is we get to make these connections of our yellow wires. If you remember, we also had these guys here. So what we have to do is we're doing a jumper, kind of like. So these guys are going to go together like so. We're going to test this all too before we make the final connection. Twist these together. So as soon as we open this on, the lights should come on. If they don't, our wires are backwards and the vacuum should turn on. Lights come on, vacuum's on. Perfect. So now we'll do the crimp. And we'll do the next crimp. Now everything is connected again. And final reveal. So you open up this guy, lights come on, sweep it in there, turns the vacuum off when you close it. And that's a wrap. So I want to take this time to thank everybody for watching this video to show you how to swap out the Dirt Devil for the InterVac Design Roadvac RMD. Much more powerful unit. And if you really like this content, you know, make sure that you like and subscribe, follow us for more. And if you have any questions, please reach out. You can check out our website at www.intervacdesign.com. We've got multiple different options for vacuum cleaners, and it doesn't have to be just for an RV. We've got it for your workshop, your garage, you can put one in your pantry. Pretty much any space, we have a vacuum for that. So again, I just want to say thanks, and remember, like and subscribe. See you next time.